Greetings gamers, and welcome to part 14 of my Let's Play Fire Emblem 9, Path of Radiance, and in today's episode, I'm going to be going about breaking some prisoners out of jail. And I thought it would be very prudent to show my new level 16 Mist. Yes, I gave her a bunch of bonus experience points. I also gave her the Seraph Robe and the Speed Wings that I had, so she has plus 2 speed and plus 7 HP than she would have. Now, what I did, and this is the reason why this is not on camera, or recording I should say, is I purposely reset. Well, what I did was I gave her bonus experience points. If she did not get at least 4 stats, I didn't care what they were in, but if she did not get at least 4 stats, I reset. And then I saved again before I gave her experience points, and then I gave her the experience points to see if she would get 4 stats. Again, like I said, I didn't care what they were in, because obviously if I did care what they were in, she would have way more strength and magic than she does right now. Speed turned out pretty darn good. In fact, most of her levels looked like magic, speed, luck, and resistance, which was kind of interesting. Especially, she got a little bit more skill than I was expecting her to get as well, but either way, it doesn't matter. So I did that for all of those levels, and it was something like, what, 14 or 13 levels I gave her with the bonus experience points I had. Now, granted, she does only have D rank. Ward Stave is C rank. Super unfortunate, because that'd be a very great way for her to get experience points as well as staff rank. Now, granted, for this particular chapter, she's going to be coming in handy because she's the only healer I'm going to be bringing, and I am going to be giving her her promotion very, very shortly, so that's pretty awesome. Everybody else is pretty well taken care of. I think Ike would like to have the chest key on him, just in case. Actually, I could give that to Type. Well, I think it's best for Ike to hold on to it. Either that or Mist. Actually, Mist would be a much better candidate. I don't have any other chest keys or door keys. Don't need any door keys for this chapter particularly, but you do need chest keys. I mean, if you're going to recruit everybody, you need door keys, but you can already see what I'm not going to be doing. Unfortunately, and this is something that I did in my last playthrough of this, I did not recruit the units from this chapter. After his father's death places the mantle of leadership on his young shoulders, Ike agrees to continue as Alincia's escort. The company heads now for the Begnion Empire, the oldest and largest nation on the continent of Tellius. As Crimea is a former fieldom, or fiefdom of Begnion, the princess turns to them for succor, much as a scared child returns to a parent. Many in Tellius believe that without Begnion's might and influence, Crimea's reconstruction will be nigh impossible. However, Begnion and Gallia have no diplomatic ties and are further separated by an impassable mountain range. So the company is forced to return to Crimea, where they hope to locate a ship to carry them to Begnion. Hope. Accompanied by Renoff, the warrior who has volunteered to guide them, the company leaves Castle Gallia behind. With heavy hearts and wounded spirits, they begin the long march back to Crimea. Hey Ike, hold up for a moment. You know, I was thinking, since this castle is on the way, we should probably stop by. Really? Why? Is there something special about this place? Why, yes, there is. This is Cantius Castle. Dayan seized it early on in the war. Now it serves as a camp for prisoners. I've even heard there are a number of Crimean retainers being held captive in the dungeon beneath the castle. What? Are you certain? Princess, I'm hurt. Of course my information is reliable. If we can rescue some Crimean soldiers, they might decide to join us. That would be quite a boon, would it not? Yes, it would. I think it's worth the risk. Cantius Castle. The question now is, how do you open these cells and free the prisoners? The cells are certain to be locked, so in order to open them, logic would dictate that the keys will be in the possession of the jailer. We've no choice but to steal them. If we're lucky, the guards will have the keys as well. In either case, we must move with caution. We don't want to trade blows with the entire castle garrison. Which means we stay close to the walls and avoid being seen or heard, right? Alright, then. Our first priority is to get our hands on the cell keys. Hey, you there. I have business with Sir Grail. Where is he? You're sorely lacking in social etiquette, aren't you? State your business. I'll speak with Sir Grail and Sir Grail alone. Now take me to him. What you ask is impossible. Commander Grail is dead. Well, that is a problem. Just who are you, anyway? Call me Volk. Sir Grail hired me. I'm in intelligence. My father hired you? You are Sir Grail's son, correct? You'll do. Sir Grail hired me to investigate something. You pay my price, and I'll give you my report. Deal? How much? 50,000. That's a bit steep, and worth every penny. I don't have that much. Give me some time. So you're willing to pay? My father hired you. He must have had a good reason. Are you sure, Commander? We have no way of knowing if he's telling the truth. We'll know when we see the contents of that report. Until then, let's have him travel with us. So that's your plan, eh? Listen, you get the report when I get paid, and I'm not waiting around till then. I'll keep my information for the time being. Call me when you've got the gold. Stop into any tavern along your way. Tell the barkeep you've in need of a fireman. You'll see me within an hour. Hold a moment. Intelligence. You said you were in intelligence, right? Is information the only thing you sell? Come out with it. What are you asking? Locks. Can you open locks? Sure, 50 gold per lock. You're going to have him open the cell doors? Is that wise? We've only just met him. There's no telling if we can trust him. You can hire, or don't hire, or seek advice. If you don't hire Volk, there's a lot of story that you miss out on. So I would never recommend not hiring Volk unless you just really and truly don't want to recruit everybody. Like if you're doing like a minimal recruitment kind of playthrough or something like that. I want to go ahead and seek advice first. What do the two of you think? Under the circumstances, I think trusting a man about whom we know nothing is dangerous. I'm opposed to this. If we want to get those cells open, I think risk is going to be inevitable. If we don't have to steal keys, we can reduce the risk and improve our chances of rescuing the prisoners. It's worth a shot. And of course, I'm going to hire Volk. Volk, will you help us break into these cells? As long as I get paid, I've got no complaint. Titania, objections? I told you before, didn't I? You're the commander. If you decide on a course of action, I will but follow. Very agreeable of you. Righto, I'm off. Good luck and all that. Wait, what? You're not going to help us here? Much as I would like to, I have a job to do. I will rejoin you when I'm finished. I see. Well, good luck to you then. Yes, and to you as well. Cool, so now I get to choose units. This game does not have a minimum unit deployment, which I actually think is a bit of an oversight, if I'm being honest. The reason being is because, I mean, just take a gander at what I'm doing here. I'm able to literally just say no to all of these units. I think we do need to bring 6 in total. So 3 mounted units to carry, well, we could probably go without Mist. If we go without Mist, then we can definitely go without Oscar. Titania has my elixir, so in the case of me needing healing, I don't really think I'm going to need it, actually. Which reminds me, I have a new unit to talk about, Volk. A very interesting unit. He is one of only 2 thieves in this game, and the only thief in this game that can promote. However, his promotion is story-driven. It happens at a specific time and no sooner. So Volk has a 65% HP, 50% strength, 5% magic, 55% skill, 65% speed, 35% luck, 20% defense, and 10% resistance. His defense and resistance are going pretty well nowhere. So the idea behind Volk is that he steals chests for you, steals items for you, opens locked doors for you, and doesn't really do much combat, especially because he is locked to the knives weapons in this game, which don't have a weapon rank, which is good. So he can use any knife in the game from the start, except it doesn't matter too much, considering that the best knife in this game only has 8 might. You heard that right. A light and easy to wield combat knife, 5 crit, 100 hit. At least it has some things going for it, but it's not much. He has class skills here, 2 of them, which is, well, first, knife allows user to wield knives. Knives are not considered a weapon in this game. They are considered a class skill. Very strange. I would have preferred him to just have sword use, and knives weren't a thing in this game. I actually think knives are totally pointless. They're beyond useless, because the only classes that can use knives are sages, either pre-promoted or ones that you choose to use knives, or thieves. Sage's max strength, though, is 15. Like, this guy, he has like a max strength of 20 or 23, somewhere between those, and even with the best knife in the game, he's not doing much damage. So, not sure why that is. That Sage, especially pre-promoted sages, it's the reason why I made the 2 caveats for units I'm going to be using, to allow me to have some healing, because otherwise I'm just going to have no healing until chapter 26. Vulneraries are trash in this game, and elixirs cost a lot and are very sparse. So he comes with another skill. Class skill. Allows this unit to steal unequipped items or weapons under certain conditions. The weapon cannot exceed in weight this unit's strength. So he has to have higher strength than the weapon's weight. So, for instance, he would not be able to steal a steel axe. He would be able to steal a short spear, but not a steel axe, and it has to be unequipped. Now, he also has to have more speed than the user of said weapon, or owner of said weapon, in order to steal. Those are the certain conditions. And of course he comes with Shade, as his personal skill causes enemies to attack other units first. The priority system, it's okay, not great, especially given the fact that none of them are all that great comparatively. So the way I play this chapter is very intriguing. I play this chapter completely and totally stealth. The only time I break stealth is to go fight Donamil and his 2 soldiers that are near him, because that does not break stealth for some reason. And besides that, I 100% want to gather the Master Seal he has. Plus, you can break the chest and then escape with your units. You get a boatload of bonus experience points for doing this chapter this way, which is amazing, because I need a boatload more bonus experience points, since I used it all and missed, for my other caveat unit that is going to be coming up in several chapters. I want to use him, but straight out of the gate, I want him to be able to be promoted pretty much instantaneously. Now, I am going to be doing pretty well the same thing with him that I did with Mist. He's going to be getting 4 guaranteed stats every time. I'm going to reset. I'm not going to have that on screen, so unfortunately there is that. I'm not going to be metagaming for any particular stats, just like I did not with Mist. So you don't have to worry about that, or me making the game trivial or too easy, or so on and so forth. But Donamil, he is a general, and probably the most difficult boss to this point. The only thing about Titania is I actually have to give away her steel axe and trade Boyd the hammer, because she needs the hammer to deal with Donamil. There is absolutely no way she's not KOing him. Well, I mean, I guess she could do it with the steel axes. Just take longer. And we don't want to take long, that's for sure. So, of course, I'm going to save. And now it is time to begin the fight. So you have to be very careful of where these units are at all times. I don't plan on unlocking any of the doors in this chapter. So what that actually means is I'm going to be doing something interesting here. I'm going to be talking about the units that you could recruit in this chapter if you were capable of, or not really capable, but if you open all the cells and do what you need to recruit them.
Tell me something, will you? What's going to happen to us? Those Dayan soldiers took my friends away, and they didn't never come back. What did they do to them? Oh, something bad happened, I just know it.
Quiet, you fool. Keep your cowardly mutterings to yourself. It matters not what vile torture they devise. A true knight of Crimea is bold, steadfast, and strong. I care not if they pull out my nails with tongs or insert pins into the soft flesh of my underbelly or yank.
Stop it! I can't bear torture. I'm not a professional soldier, I'm just part of the militia. I can't believe I left my family behind for this. Will I ever see them again? Oh, I want to go home.
Curses, if only I had a weapon of some sort.
Help will come. I will not give up.
Alright, cool. So, first and foremost, I need to bring the obvious to attention. Sephiran is not recruitable in this game. 100%. He is woefully overpowered. If you could recruit him, he would bust the game wide open. He could have half his stats and he would still be very good. But he's actually pretty much fantastic and part of the plot. Somebody who has his incredible stats for a reason. He has an S rank in Staves, which also gives him an S rank in Light Magic, because Staves and Light Magic, they share weapon level because of the class skill that bishops have, which is Lumina. Allows wielder to use Light Magic. The level appears next to the staff. He also comes with a personal skill. Mantle greatly decreases the damage done by most attacks. This is a lie, but I don't necessarily want to say exactly what Mantle does because it's a bit of a spoiler. But little, I mean, unnecessary to be said. What it basically means is that Sephiran is invincible in this chapter. Now, you can use this to your advantage, and I've done so before. You can have him block off Donamil or his units down here, or other units like over here that respawn, or spawn, I should say, from enemy reinforcements in order to damage them. So if you, or not damage them, soak up their damage so that you can deal with them. Because since he's unarmed, a lot of them are going to attack him. Now, if you get spotted by any of the three watch, which there is one right here. If you get spotted by any of these three, how you get spotted is by waiting in their attack range. What will happen is units will reinforce from here, reinforce from here, and reinforce from here. And an absurd amount of them. An absurd amount. These units are great experience points if you don't need the bonus experience points, because the bonus experience points that you receive for doing this chapter in stealth is practically the exact same that you get from KOing all the units in this chapter. The thing of the matter is that if you want the bonus experience points, you have to avoid this, because you need to not break stealth in order to keep the bonus experience points. You can fully KO Donamil and his two soldiers without any fear of any reinforcements. These are not considered part of the watch, which is kind of weird. You'd think that the boss of the dungeon would be, you know, the first one to declare, hey, reinforcements come because I'm being attacked. But no, he's kind of an insane man. We're going to find that out later. Now, one thing I will say is I'm also not getting this chest here. This contains a statue fragment, and what that does is it increases build by 2 all that does is increases weight, and it allows you to shove or rescue more units. It's super useless in my humble opinion, and it's not worth the time spent on getting it, especially because I have 4 chests in here to get, as well as to deal with these enemies. Now, moving on to units. Braum. He is recruitable, but only if you open his cell, and I believe you have to talk to either Braum or Kyran, and then you have to make them escape on difficult mode or higher. Now, on any other mode, you just have to talk to them or open their cell. It's one of the two. I would just talk to them for sure, because they become partner units, and then you can direct them. Now, Braum, his stats, growth rates, I should say, are 75% HP, 45% strength, 10% magic, 50% skill, 25% speed, 20% luck, 55% defense, and 25% resistance. He comes with no skills to speak of and a D weapon level. Not that great, but I have used him to some pretty good success in other runs. For instance, like I said before, there was a time where I had a Tellius Path of Radiance run where the only units I used were generals and sages. I thought that was super fun. Now, Kyran is an axe knight, so he's a mounted on a horse axe wielder, which is pretty darn good. He has 60% HP, 50% strength, 15% magic, 50% skill, 40% speed, 25% luck, 40% defense, and 30% resistance. A little bit less tanky, a little bit less resistive than Braum, but he has some great attributes. He's already capable of being promoted right now, and he's got pretty decent stats. They're almost comparable to Titania when she was at base. So if you were to promote him right now, he would be pretty close, pretty on par with her. Not exactly. He'd be like a point or two below her in almost every stat, but he'd still be close, which means that you could have immediately a Titania replacement or another basically Titania unit, which is great. Now, he comes with C rank and axes, which is great. This just goes along the lines of the fact that he's a professional soldier. He has more experience than Braum. Braum, like he said, is a militiaman. That's why he has a D rank in lances. Now, he comes with an interesting skill. Gamble. Halves this unit's chance to hit, but doubles his chance to land a critical hit. This is super good if you're using killing weapons like Killer Axe, which you do get a fair bit of in this game. It's a fun skill. It's not overall the greatest thing in the world, but it is fun. And then finally, for recruitable units, we have Nephany. Nephany is a soldier, and a fun one. This is the first instance of being able to use a soldier in the West in a Fire Emblem game. After this, it became more common to see this happen in Fire Emblem games, but the GBA Fire Emblem games notably did not have any form of soldier, besides technically Amelia as a recruit, though it's not necessarily the same thing because she's not really the same class, right? She's a recruit. Now, Nephany's growth rates are 55% HP, 40% strength, 20% magic, 55% skill and speed, 25% defense, or luck, I'm sorry about that, 35% defense, and 25% resistance. Nephany is a good unit and a very fun one. I love soldiers. I think they are cool units, especially because lances are great in this game. Not as good as axes, but they are very comparable, especially because they do kind of have better 1-2 range, not for the damage, but for the hit. Now, she comes with an E rank in lances, which is incredibly terrible, but because she never gets any weapon level or any weapon type other than E, or other than lances, it's not that big a deal, especially because even though lances are one of the few weapons in this game that do have an S rank legendary weapon, you get it in the very last chapter. So by the time you get there, you're gonna have an S rank on her. You're just going to, especially if you use her to any capacity. Now she comes with Wrath, which is a good skill in this game. It's just nowhere near as good as it has been in previous titles. It increases critical hit percentage whenever unit's HP is at half or less. So if Nephany has half her HP right now, she will get 50 critical with this weapon, or this skill. That means that if she has a Killer Lance, she will have 80 plus whatever innate skill critical she has. Because Lance wielders, soldiers, promote to Halberdier, and Halberdiers are a specialized weapon user, only can use one weapon. The way that intelligent systems balance that, just like with Swords Masters and Berserkers, is that they get a crit bonus. I believe Halberdiers only get a 5% crit bonus in this game. It might be 10, but I'm pretty sure it's 5%. In this game, Swords Masters, I believe, either get 10 or 15%, and Berserkers get either 15 or 20%. These are things you can't quote me on. I could probably figure it out, and I probably will figure that out to be absolutely for sure to give you better information on that matter. But because I'm not using her, and I wouldn't even be promoting her even if I was to recruit her, it's not really that big a deal, in my humble opinion. But that is all the recruitable units you gain from this chapter. Unfortunately, none of them are any useful to me whatsoever. Now, the way to deal with these units particularly... yeah, I'm going to have to move over here, actually. It takes a while. It just takes a while. You have to take your time, be careful of your steps, where you're putting your units. This chapter takes a while, especially if you're going to be getting the chest. Now, you don't have to. Most of the chests are just items and weapons. They're not necessary components to your or my strategy or anybody's strategy, necessarily. But it's still good to have free stuff, free weapons, free things that I can take advantage of. Of course, you do have to make sure that you're staying competently out of range of all of these units. You do not want to trip the alarm, especially only having 4 units like I do here, and no healing to speak of. Alright, so check the watches. I think I have found the position and point I can break through. Alright, because Marcia only has 8 movement compared to Titania's 9, I do always want to keep her in the front. Also, make sure that he's tagged, and he is. And I think this is my breakthrough. Yes. Perfect. Once I get past this little area here, you no longer have to worry about the Southern Watchman. Alright. Awesome. I'm within a stone's throw distance of all of these guys, and yet can't be detected. It's actually super funny. Of course, I'm going to move over here with Titania and drop. Okay, Ike is here. No, I'm going to have to drop him further. I'm also going to have to equip my short spear. Drop Ike there. Then I can move. Yeah, these guys won't be able to reach because you cannot shoot through walls in this game. Perfect. And of course, Titania is going to take out these guys on enemy phase. She does have the Ike support, which is nice. I do believe that gives some hit and avoid. Definitely could check that out. It's actually been a very long time since I supported Ike and Titania.
Look who's come to play. I am so very happy to see you. Now then, are you ready to become my prisoners and live a life of eternal bliss within my lovely dungeon?
As I said, this guy is insane. Funny, though, that he decided to attack with a lance. Oh, that's because I decided to attack with a short spear. Well, you're kind of doomed, Danomil. Of course, got to make sure that you always are paying attention to these guys. These guys don't matter anymore, especially where I'm at in distance, but I'm still going to be careful. However, with all that being said, this is a perfect opportunity to call it quits. I want to thank you for joining me. If you like my content, please upvote and follow, or like and subscribe depending on your platform. And while you're at it, have a great and glorious day gaming.